Well, it's Friday the 30th of October. The space weather is unruly. 6 of the 7 visible planets are in boisterous cardinal signs. This is episode 2043 of 301 Permanently Moved Online, a personal podcast 301 seconds in length, written, recorded and edited by me at the JMO. This is, after all, a personal podcast, and I'm very grateful to everyone that listens to the show. Thank you for your attention. If you're in the mood for some seasonal content, last year's double bill on The Laughing Man and the episode on needing to stay with the trouble of our ancestors are now both up on the blog. Link in the show notes. I know it's only a few weeks since I talked about what I've been doing, but I've got a lot going on that I'm excited to share. Firstly, I'm extremely happy to announce that I sold my first Solarpunk story. It's called In the Storm of Fire, co-written with the award-winning speculative fiction writer and previous 301 guest host Andrew Danner Hudson. The e-anthology, and lately The Sun, Speculative Fictions for a Climate Thrashed World, is available to pre-order on November 26th. Our story is a hero gets in and out of trouble narrative about fascism with American characteristics. It's got homebrew pharmaceutical hack labs, aging Snapchat demagogues, priests praying prayers from St. Teresa of Avila, and loads more. It was a blast to write with Andrew, and I'm really glad that it's going to be available. A link to the pre-order will be in the show notes. Secondly, I've started a YouTube show. If 5 blessedly short minutes of JMail a week isn't enough for you, then head over to comeinternetwith.me. Come Internet With Me is a web show with a gentle premise, browsing the web together. Each week, a guest brings a subject that they have seen or would like to know more about. I share my screen, type the search into the web browser, and we go down the rabbit hole together. We chat about and discuss the things we're finding as we go, and I'm finding it a lot of fun. So far, my guests have included writer and blogger Matt Cahoon, aka Xenogoth. We spent an hour reading about tornadoes. TikToker and vigilante for academia public relations, TX Watson, learnt about the 16th century knowledge management and note-taking process known as the Zettelkasten method. The music journalist and booking agent Lisa Blanning searched hermit crabs. This week, digital infrastructure and security researcher Cade Deem searched economic subcultures. You may remember Cade's work from the episode Landscapes Like Mixtapes. We ended up taking a deep dive into the average spending in furry fandoms and the community brony fandom produced album Ponies at Dawn. Did you know that as of 2017, furries spent a mean of $1,007 on conventions in the previous 12 months, but only $55 on Patreon? I didn't. If you think watching two people browse the internet together is more interesting than it sounds, then please do check it out. I'm having a lot of fun and have more great guests lined up. Speaking of Patreon, I've recently put out the old virtual tip jar on my blog. I don't believe in gated content, so everything I do, including this show, will always be free. But the reality is, supporting me at any level will allow me to make and do more. The lowest level of support I've set is £3 a month or £30 a year, which is below Substack's minimum price. The response has been very encouraging so far, and it's convinced me that it's worth pursuing. Third-party services like Patreon were the last successful innovation of Web 2.0. But the financial technological stack has come a long way since the service launched. In 2020, I think it's more important than ever to operate and control your own financial plumbing. The future for independent creators are verticals of one. Which brings me to the last item. Given the encouraging response from those that have supported me so far, I've decided to start a new blog series called Dimensino, an ongoing web scrapbook exploring the emerging D-Web or Web3 ecosystem, the support net and the coming metaverse. It's best described as thinking in public, introducing, then iterating on ideas as feedback comes in. I'd like to give transitioning away from working freelance a go, and hope you'd like to follow along and join the conversation. The first post is on Verticals of One, which is an individual with access to a complete ensemble of discrete, modular, plug-and-play technologies, such as financial plumbing, dynamic IP ownership, content delivery, walled gardens, community gates, governance tools, and smart contracts operating at different levels of abstraction. Interoperable, yet vertically integrated to produce one, nominally seamless, user experience. The essay then takes a short dive into platform theory and discusses the theoretical user experience of joining a distributed autonomous organization of the future. I've a few more posts lined up already, sources of value versus organizing value, permissive IPs, and some thinking on the current arms race. I thought, fuck it, why not? One podcast a week, one YouTube video a week, and a short essay idea about blockchains, the metaverse, the future of intellectual property a week, all put on the internet for free. I don't know how sustainable this will be, but it's certainly something that I'm willing to lean into. I've helped loads of independent creators plan and execute their own endeavours in the last few years, but I've never tried to do it myself. If you've ever enjoyed an episode of 301, or any of my writing, please do share it with others or go to thejmo.net/support, and please do consider subscribing for a couple of quid a month. Speak to you next week.